Hey, how is everybody today? I was just going to go out and help my husband by the pool because it's, I don't know, like 92 degrees here in Michigan today. And I thought, shoot, I didn't do my video yet. So it's kind of an odd time to do it, but I always get right into it. I don't usually wait to build an audience too much because I know a lot of people watch these videos afterwards too, and that's awesome. Hey Mark, how are you? Staying cool, I hope. Anyway, I just go really brief right now, just to sort of to backtrack in case like somebody's watching and this is the first time they're watching. So what I'm doing these videos for, this is my fifth or sixth week of doing videos, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually morning or evening. And what I'm doing is I'm talking about my journey through fear, anxiety, and panic attacks that I suffered with for about 25 years. Started when I was about 11. That was my first panic attack, and it continued until I was in my mid to later 30s. But the awesome thing is that I'm free. So I'm on here to give people encouragement. I'm on here to let people know not to quit, not to give up. I did anything and everything that I could think of, worldly wise speaking, to be done with this. And I'm just on here to give you hope. You have to have hope. The Bible says hope deferred makes the heart sick. So when you're done with hope, when you're not hoping anymore, it makes the heart sick. It makes you feel like you want to give up or give in, and I'm here to say, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm going to continue to do these through the summer, probably through August, and then I've got a neat thing to offer. So today, I'm going to just talk really briefly. I'm going to go into the Bible today. I talk about God, he's a central part of this, but I haven't gotten into the Bible a lot, but today I'm going to, because it's a story that I've been hearing a lot lately. There's several people that I listen to, messages, and this is one that has come up so much. So it's a story that's in John 5 in the Bible. And it's about, I'm not going to go into it big time right now. Hey Sue, how are you? Thank you for being on here, man. In case you have never heard of it, it's a story about an invalid who was at a place, it was the Pool of Bethesda, right? And Jesus is going, he's going up to a feast, is what I'm told. He's going up to a feast, and he stops at this pool, right? And what he sees at this pool, there is many sick folk. It says there is invalids, there is infirmed people. And what it was said happens is that the angel came down once a year and stirred the waters, and whoever was lucky enough to get into that pool would be healed. Okay, so here's the reason I have compassion versus sympathy on here. Just had a conversation with somebody today, and maybe you're going to watch this, the person that I had a conversation with about this, okay? So Jesus is walking by, and he focuses in on this invalid, okay, this person. We're not sure what had happened. I don't know how old he was, but the fact of the matter is he had been at that pool for 38 years, okay, with whatever he had, okay, and so far he hadn't been healed. He hadn't gotten into the water. Now, Jesus walks up to him, and we know, Jesus is loving. Jesus is caring, right? We see it in the Bible, but what we don't understand sometimes is that Jesus was filled with compassion, but not sympathy. All right? I'm going to read to you in some different versions what he said to this invalid who had been there 38 years. One version says, Jesus walked up to him and said, "Do you really want to become well? Right? Are you really in earnest in getting well?" Right? Okay. Another version, sorry about that, says, "Do you want to be made well?" That's the first thing that he says. Hey, Lisa, how are you? First thing he says to this invalid who's been there 38 years, right? Here's another one. Would you like to get well? So you go, okay, this is Jesus talking, right? Now that was compassionate. You might think, well, no, that was rude. Like, why wouldn't this guy want to get made, Nope, that was compassion. He's looking at this guy going, you've been at this for 38 years? You're 38 years? He knew, right, how long this guy had been this way. Do you really want to get well? Do you really? So that's compassion. Sympathy would have been, oh my gosh, you've been there for 38 years? Oh, I feel so sorry for you. I feel so bad for you. I can't believe that you haven't been able to get over into that water. Oh, that's so horrible. Oh, I'm just so sad to even think about that. Oh, I sure hope it works better for you next year. I'm going to keep you in my prayers. And then Jesus would walk away. That's sympathy. And we've built a culture around sympathy. And people look for sympathy. People kind of thrive on sympathy, which is that, you're reiterating what this person is going through, telling them how sorry you are, but then walking away. And what happens? That person ends up the same. If Jesus would have done that, walking by this place, the guy would have never been healed. Probably would have waited 38 more years. But Jesus says, do you want to get well? And the guy didn't even say yes. He didn't even say yes. He says, I can't, because I have no one to put me in the pool. When the water bubbles up, somebody always gets ahead of me. Oh, and what is that? That's an excuse. That's basically an excuse. Okay? And I'm going to expound more, about this, because as I have been doing this program that that God and I collaborated on, that's what did it, man. That's what helped me break free. As we've collaborated on that, and I've worked with people with it, man, there's so many that you have to just want to ask them, do you want to get well? And you would think the resounding answer would be absolutely, I'll do whatever it takes. But it doesn't always work that way. In fact, it doesn't usually work that way. You would think that as I've read you this story, and again, you can read it for yourself, it's in Luke 5. You would think that after 38 years, you would think that Jesus wouldn't have even had to ask him that. But, he was Jesus, he was man, he was God, and he knew. He knew. He's thinking, in 38 years, you could have surely done something. In 38 years. But what did he do? He couldn't even answer yes. He didn't even answer with a resounding yes. Yes, I want to be made well. Because, and I'm going to get into this more. I'm sorry, I'm going to kind of leave you guys today with this. But, we kind of build a culture sometimes around things that we struggle with anxiety, with depression, with sickness. We build sort of a wall around it. And human nature loves sympathy. It likes to be heard. It likes to tell the story. And I'm not saying, man, I feel bad for any of you that are going through fear, anxiety, and panic attacks. Believe me, that's why I'm on here 3 days a week, okay? It's like hell on earth. It is. It's a hellish existence, and that's why I'm here. But I'm not on here every day giving you sympathy. I'm not going to say every day, I feel so bad for you. No, I'm on here to give you solutions, and that's what Jesus did. God is a solution-oriented God, but we have, like I said, we have built such a culture around just the sympathy thing. I am so sorry. Oh, I feel so badly that you have this. I feel so badly that you have to go through this. I feel so badly that you have to go through that. I'll keep you in my prayers. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's kind of our deal. And half the time we aren't even praying, right? And what happens is you get that sympathy from somebody. You feel good for a moment, like, like, oh, they feel bad for me. Oh, but then what do you have to do? You got to go look for somebody else who's going to give you the same sympathy, and somebody else and somebody else. And sometimes people do it for years. And you look and you go, I'm no further ahead than I was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? So Jesus moved with compassion. And that's what I'm doing. And what compassion did was recognize the issue, didn't expound on the issue, didn't even, after 38 years, after I read you this story, didn't even account for that. Didn't even say, oh my gosh, 38 years. No. Do you want to get well? Is what he said. Do you want to get well? Are you earnest about getting well? And I'm going to get into that more as the weeks go on, because it's amazing. Deep down, we do, right? We do. But so often we want to be hearers. We want to hear what we have to do, and we go, yeah, okay, that sounds really good. And then we don't do it. There's always, when you've had something for a long time, I know it sounds really crazy, and I'll get into that more too, but there's little benefits that surround things that you go through, that surround living in fear, living in anxiety, if you've lived in it for a long period of time, there's a little bit of fear of getting out, because you have just known that life of fear and depression for so long. It's like you want to, but deep inside there's almost sort of this fear of getting out as well. And I know it sounds kind of crazy, but if you're going through it, what I mean. So, he had to assess with this gentleman, do you want to get well? And what did he do? Like I said, he made excuses. He didn't even say yes. And then Jesus said, pick up your mat and walk. Like, just pick up your mat and walk, right? And I'm not saying it's like that easy, to break free of fear, anxiety, panic attacks, and things like that, But there is things that you have to do, and I'm going to get into that more as I go on, through the summer. But what I really wanted to expound on was the culture of sympathy versus compassion. Sympathy feels sorry for. Sympathy reiterates what's wrong with you. Oh, I'm so sorry that's wrong with you. I'm so sorry you're going through that. I'm so sorry that's horrible. That's awful. That's terrible, right? And then you say, oh, I'll be thinking about you, and you walk away. Okay, compassion says, do you really want to get well? Let's do something to get well. Let's not wallow anymore. Let's not think about so much what you're going through so much. Let's move forward. Let's move forward, and let's get through this, and let's break out of this, right? Because God is a forward moving God. He keeps moving us forward no matter what we've gone through, no matter what we're going through. There's a passage in Isaiah, I don't know, Isaiah 43, something like that, and I love it, and I can't believe it. But he says, don't remember the former things, nor consider the things of old, because behold, I'm going to do a new thing. Don't you know it? We can't do a new thing if we can't let go of the old thing, right? So God always wants you moving forward, right? And again, Jesus moved with compassion, but with compassion came solutions, not sympathy. It came with solutions. Sympathy brings temporary relief for 2 minutes, but then you got to find another person again to give you more sympathy and more, and go to here, go there. And then you seek those out that will give you sympathy, but it never changes the situation. Compassion changed the situation in this story in Luke 5. Compassion said, do you want to get well? The excuse came, and then Jesus said, well, then pick up your mat and walk. That was a direction, that was a directive to this gentleman. Do it. I'm telling you to do it. And what did he do? He was able to pick up his mat and walk. So that's what I'm going to teach you guys in the weeks to come, how to pick up your mat and walk out of this thing called fear, anxiety, and panic attacks, okay? I care about you. I have compassion because I lived it for 25 years, you know. Definitely that's why I'm on here, but I'm on here to give you hope and to give you encouragement and to give you solutions and able to get out, to pick up your mat. What mat is it? The mat of fear, the mat of anxiety, the mat of panic attacks, the mat of depression. Man, roll it up, stick it under your arm, and you're going to be able to walk and take it and be done with it. That's why I'm on here. So I hope that made sense to you. I'm gonna expound on this story a little bit more next week, but I just felt like it was something that I needed to share because, like I said, I listened to a couple messages in the last week, and they were both on this story. So I was like, okay, God, that's something that people need to hear is again the difference between sympathy and compassion. So you guys have a great weekend, and I will be back on Monday morning to give you more hope and to give you more encouragement to be able to break free from this. Thank you so much for listening. Please share this with people that you know need it. I'm so grateful for those of you who have shared. So grateful. Like it, share it. The more you do that, the more it goes out. I don't know everything about Facebook, but I know the more you like and share something that sends it out to more people who need this. And so many people need to hear this message of freedom and encouragement. So, all right. Thanks, you guys. See you Monday.